Okay, that's fine. Okay. Something more meaningful. You have backup? Probably. Phone? Connects over Wi-Fi to laptop. Got mine? The full camera. All right. Welcome. Oh, good to see you, Hobson. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. You're in the right place for San Diego Python. Just want to thank everybody for bearing with me today. I forgot my HDMI capture card, so the stream is going to be a little bit interesting today. But I want to thank Qualcomm, and specifically the Qualcomm engineering development team. They're the ones who kind of, what? Oh yeah, I do, but not yet, not right away. I want to thank the Qualcomm engineering development team. They're the ones who graciously let us be here and all that kind of stuff. And specifically Drew and Urivan, who they are the contact. They are the people who, are waiting at the door to unlock things and stuff like that. So they've done a lot for us. I also want to thank my co-organizer, Jeremy, sitting over there. Helps wrangle all the speakers, is managing the YouTube channel, which I'm not doing today because my laptop is the presenting laptop. So yeah, solves problems that I cannot solve. So that's awesome. Result of everybody has to present one laptop, and this one here, that's hopefully the stream goes okay as a result. If you're on the stream, bear with me. A couple small announcements, and then we'll just jump right into speakers. We have a Saturday meetup. It's virtual. It's on Discord, 10 a.m. on Saturdays. Check the meetup page. It's a little bit different than this format. This format, there's speakers, there's presentations. Usually the Discord one is people jump in Discord. They're chatting about projects. Sometimes like they break off. Sometimes there is a presentation. It kind of varies, but it's definitely more of a bring your laptop, collaborate on something, or chat with people, or kind of vary. That's about 15 people, sometimes 20 people on a Saturday morning. So if that's your thing, want to chat with other local Python developers, great. Yeah. Our website is sandiegopython.org. It's got a code of conduct on it. It has a link to the YouTube channel where the meetups are streamed. So it's got the past meetups. Kind of useful if you're ever like, oh, what? I can't remember that presentation. Boom, we probably recorded it, unless it was last month when I was sick. And then it also has a link to the Discord. So if you want to join the Saturday meetup, you don't need permission or anything. You can just go to the website, sandiegopython.org, join the Discord, then you're in it. The Discord has like a couple breakout channels. There's one for like web dev. There's a data science one. There's one for jobs. That's a key one that I like to highlight. So if you're looking for a job or your company's hiring, that's a good place to post about it. You can talk about a job to the 25 people in this room right now, but that's probably a better place to hire or to be hired. So that's a cool thing. Also wanted to mention a couple like upcoming events and conferences. March Mingle is next month, as you might expect from the and it's at Valley High down on Shelter Island. March 27th, which is the day before next month's San Diego Python, critical event. But March Mingle is like a big San Diego tech event. It's a mingle event, so there's not presentations and stuff like that. It's kind of, there's usually like a cash bar, but like you don't have to do cash bar. Anyways, it's cool stuff. You meet people who are working on local startups. You meet, stuff like that. Sometimes there are like little booths there, people doing stuff. There's swag, conference kind of stuff. But it's a cool place. Tickets, I think, are not yet on sale. Go on sale very shortly. They're not very expensive. And then PyCon US is coming up. That's on May 17th to 19th. Those are the like talks days. There's tutorials beforehand, sprints after that. But May 17th to 19th is in Pittsburgh this year. Check it out. Tickets are already on sale. I think the early bird tickets are gone. They're into full price, but yeah, it's cool. Check it out. PyCon's great. It's usually like 2,000 plus Python developers all in one place. So awesome conference, tons of stuff. And lastly, well, the last like main, I'm always looking for speakers. You too can be a speaker. I'm going to pitch you on speakers. There's a link on the website, sandiegopython.org, to become a speaker. Looking for all skill levels. So, if you want to give a advanced NumPy talk, you want to give a setting up your Python environment issues talk, something in between there, anything is great. Like, the people who attend the meetup are all skill levels, so speakers that we try to fill meetup with have to be at all skill levels. Please, please, please become a speaker. You don't have to sign up for like next month if you're like, hey, my presentation won't be ready till June or something. Like, you can sign up for June. That's great. And one way to make sure that you actually do give a talk is to commit to giving one. I've found committing makes you then do the work to prepare your slides and stuff like that. I'm also highly motivated here for a personal reason because I'm kind of the speaker of last resort. When we don't get enough speakers, I have to be a speaker. And I try to not speak very much if, I speak enough. Yeah. I also want to just mention our sponsor, JFrog, DevOps platform for continuous integration and continuous releases. For example, if you need to host a PyPI inside your company firewall, they have a product that does that, among other things. So yeah, check it out, JFrog. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Without, I suppose, further ado, David, you're my first speaker. David Ward is going to talk to us about building a simple game with Python and pygame and hosting it on itch.io. I'm going to switch you over to this thing. And then this, I think, can just go slideshow. And then,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
this is the thing. You don't have to speak. So
Okay.
walk away from it.
Okay, great. Thank you all for having me here. Today I'm going to give a little talk. I'm going to talk to you about creating a game using Python and hosting on itch.io. A quick example and some instruction. So to help you make progress in making your game, I suggest you find a game jam. And in 2023, I did that. I found this one right here called Pygames. It was hosted by Microsoft, and they had $13,700 in prizes. I actually got some prize money. I can tell you about that later. So I entered the game jam. The second, you need to have a plan. And this was my plan. So my plan was I'm going to have a spaceship, and I'm going to conserve angular momentum because most spaceship games, they don't do that. So I thought I'm going to conserve angular momentum. So when you thrust left and right, you're going to start spinning. And that was my plan. So when you stop thrusting because you're conserving angular momentum, you keep spinning. That's the way spaceships actually fly in space. They don't just stop when you stop thrusting, they keep spinning. That was my plan, and then 3 weeks later, because that's how long my spaceship came to life and was spinning. Kind of hard because spinning. It's a little difficult to control. And finally, it blows up a lot. So that's what happened in my game, and it was kind of a difficult experience because the game is so hard. Spaceship just crashes all the time. My example, I'm going to get into a little bit of details here about making the game and hosting it, like I said, title. I use these libraries, and these are not the most up-to-date libraries that perform this function, but it's just 3 libraries on the Python itself. I use NumPy, I use pygame, and I use pygbag, and those 3 libraries are up to date. But I had difficulty getting those to work on itch.io, the later versions. So maybe somebody in here, if you actually play with this example that I'm going to give you, maybe you can, because I'd like to move along to the later versions, and I just couldn't get it to work. But I don't need to get into those details right now. So if you're familiar with game design or game programming, you would be familiar with this code. But I'm going to go through it if maybe you've never seen it before, so you kind of have a little bit of an understanding. This is code that you can find in my example, and I'm going to explain it here just briefly. There's not a whole lot of the technical elements in the presentation, but I'll just go through them real quick. So main.py is your main program, and you're going to find these 4 main elements in that script. It's going to be your initialization of Pygame itself, your creation of the window, and you can see in this case I set the display size to my width and height that I have in my globals file. And then I'm going to create the game object. I'm going to pass in the windows and the globals so the game has what it needs to run. And then I'm going to use the async IO library to run that game. And then the game, what's in the game is now shown in the box below. I do want to say async IO is needed by pygbag. Pygbag is the library that will allow you to run your game in the browser. And I'm not going to get into those details because that's super complicated. But it does need the async IO library, and that's how it runs, by calling async IO run method with your game. And then you see in the game, game.py, you'll find this loop. And this main loop is what you pretty much always see in all games. Go look in game of any sort, you'll see a game loop or some kind of event loop. Sometimes it's called the event loop. So let's just go through what those main items are that you always find in these game loops. The first item I have in this loop, and by the way, sometimes you'll see these in different orders. It doesn't really matter great detail which order you find these in. But we see dt equals self.clock.tick. And we pass in the frames per second. So that's setting the frame rate, and it's also getting the time delta. You're going to use that time delta to update all of your graphics and all your items that are running in the game, because sometimes a game loop might change duration, the operating system needs, forth and so on. So you're going to measure how much delta you got, and you're going to set that frame rate. The second item in this list is the event loop. What is that? And that's what I called it. Really what it is processing the user inputs, like the controls. There is controlling with the keyboard or the mouse or something. And then you have the update. And what that does is it controls all the items in your game, like where the spaceship is, how fast it's going, does all the calculations. And then draws. So the next step is to draw everything to your graphics buffer. And then pygame will have a method called update. And it will take what's in the graphics buffer and put it on the screen. And then you have this await statement, and that makes this game loop a coroutine. That's what's needed by async. And that's also, you'll find that in the PygBag documentation. Go to the website regarding that. I'll go into the ways that you. My example that I'm going to give you here at the end of the talk, it will run in those. You run it like you would run a Python script, on main wide, and it'll just run. You can run it from the web browser with the PygBag tool. PygBag will take your Python code and turn it into something called WebAssembly. And it'll actually host that Python WebAssembly code. And then you will open a browser and go to your that host, that IP address, which is localhost, that's your own PC. So it will actually run in the browser. So that's pretty new, and when I say new, it's several years. That's still pretty new in the fun world. So the third way, to run it on itch.io, you need to do all these steps, create an account, project, create a zip file, and you'll find those files in this folder, build.web/web, and that'll be created by PygBag. So it's just 3 files in my case, and that's all I've seen it ever generate. You upload that zip file to the project. You select the options under the itch.io website. There's lots of options there. You know, they have a lot of ways to advertise your game if you think you're going to get a lot of people playing it. And then you publish the project, and then with some luck, thousands, no, it's hundreds, well, maybe dozens of people will play your game. Anyway, so you can try this out. Here's the game. I didn't even give you the name. The game is called The Computer Broke, Land It Yourself. And available to play on itch.io. And you can download and modify the source code, and you can learn all about it. And you can ask me plenty of questions. So that's what I have time for now. Questions? Go right ahead. Yeah, sure. Okay, I don't understand your question. WebAssembly okay, you're asking, does WebAssembly run any faster or the same? It actually is well known to run slower in this. I don't know if that's going to always be true, but it's documented that when you put your code, run it through PygBag and run it in your web browser, it definitely runs. When they say it runs slower, I think it's like half the So if you're getting 100 frames per second, you know, running Python, you might be get 50 frames per second. But in this case, this game is so simple that it's. Any other questions? Yeah, go right ahead. No, yeah, the question is, did I back off from the angular momentum requirement because it was so difficult? And I did not. The game, I put it there. If you go to that website, it'll say this game is. Got a few comments saying, yeah, this game is tough. I did insert a few levels that are easy because the game was so. I don't know. Anybody in here, if you spend enough time on it, you'll solve all the levels. But I'm not here to claim my game is a. It is not. And then so nobody asked, hey, I thought you said you won some money, and I did. I was one of the first 20 qualified entries in that competition, so they gave me $50 for that. There are people that won thousands of dollars, though. I wasn't one of those. Okay, any other questions? I think I'm out of time. Oh, go ahead. I use NumPy to compute all of the rotations. I use vector math, and there's a rotation matrix. Very simple. I almost have it memorized, but it's a 2x2 matrix. Multiply that matrix by another list of points, which is a list of XY coordinates. Boom, it's rotated. And I use that extensively in even other projects I work on. It's awesome. And literally write algebraic expressions that are matrix multiplication. Very simple. NumPy just takes care of it. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Any other questions? Well, great. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right. We have a slight audible today. Jeremy's going to be next. Jeremy Langley is going to talk to us about sets in Python, and I'm going to set up with a Python environment on my computer, which I'm sure you were, all ready for. So bear with me while I switch to. Gotta get rid of this project.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to go. Let's see.
Close edit.
Are anybody in here who companies are hiring? One? Nobody's doing hiring. Job numbers are up. My company, New Math Data. Plus a little US. Google's platform. Is there anybody? Okay. For a couple getting this for everybody on YouTube. There's a couple of people there watching us. So I wanted to also have people who are looking for a job. Just stand up, give your name, maybe give what your background is, what you're looking for, the industry that you'd like to get in, if that's a particular interest to you. Yeah, great. Congratulations, graduation. Yeah. Qualcomm has internship positions. That is, let's see, it's time-based. They have a lot of positions. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. You won't be able to get it. Yes. yeah, there are a lot of layoffs. Lots of people. We're here to help out those people. One, local, and helping the community able to grow. Thank you very much for your input. Oh, yeah. No, let's say not general, or this people looking for jobs. Oh, person is me. This is a basic talk talking about your class have uniqueness value. I'm going to take a look at some sets that already exist in Python. Things to the end. If you're familiar with Python sets, what it's going to do is it's going to truncate those and give only the unique values. It can happen for numbers. So that's not going to. So this is described only the unique strings. So the string has this property that we're going over today. Numbers has this property already built in. So we're going to find out, how do you do this with your own classes? How do you make sure that it has this uniqueness value? Start off with a class. I'm going to do a class person. And I'll say they can have a name. Make it of type string, age, type string. So what we're going to need, not the enter key, is to define an init. This init function is going to be what information is taken into the class whenever you try to make one copy of it. So in this, I'm going to have a name, name, self dot age. So far, so good. I can make a class person. Use on so no errors. But this doesn't allow for any kind of unique values. If I put this in a set, it's not going to grab only the unique values. So let's change our set to include, there's two methods to be aware of. One of them is called, this does a comparison between itself and one other. I'm going to call it other. And I'm going to return whether or not the self.name is equal to the other.name. So it's going to only pull unique values of these strings. If you want to, you can make it more complex. A self.name, comma, self.age. That as well. Other dot. So make it possible to compare names and ages. So that's what it means to be a unique person. Names are terrible. Don't do this. Let's see. Lots of people have John Doe. It's a terrible thing. Lots of people who are John Doe who are age 42. It's a terrible way to compare. Don't do this. There are other ways to get a unique value. Social security numbers are not unique. There's addresses. Let's see. You can have multiple people named John Doe Jr. living at an address. So that might be not a great way to compare either. I'm not going to suggest what is the best way to do comparisons of names. That's for a different talk. But for this, there's the equal. And okay, the other method to talk about is def underscore hash. Now, all this is a number. It's going to return a number and make sure that this number is unique enough where you had millions of these things that the numbers don't slide very often. So I'm going to use a function in here called hash. Remember, if you hash the self, or if you hash the name, you're going to get a lot of hashes that are the same. This is not a great way to do this. I'm just doing this as a small demo. So you can do a name and an age, age, and any other information that you want to in here. Let's see. I've seen some people, things like add these hashes together. It's going to be, just remember the value is going to be somewhat unique after you get finished with it. So, thank you. Classes are also in my back. I'm going to create a couple of people. One person. Got the right quotes. Person. Going to make that with list inside of person one, person. That. Oh dear, that looks ugly. But you notice that it's only two elements. There's only two people in this, although I handed it three people. So we can fix that. That is having to do with the def or repr. It just has to do with representation. Sorry, turn. gotta treat all people again. I'm going to show what happens if it fails. Person set. So yep. Let's see. There's some people in the audience who can spot live coding errors. Do I need to make a string itself? I don't want to mess up again. Fix it. It's name exactly like the grepper. Use that. That. Yep. That. Oh. Now you can make your own unique elements. Gotta remember those two Dunder functions, what they are, Dunder methods. Dunder equal and Dunder hash. Need to be up. So far, questions? Just a Python internal hash. Let's say I didn't have to import anything. It's just available as part of main Python functions. It's like print. SHA hashes, MD5 sums are pretty handy, but and they'll work in this situation because they just return a number. You just need something to compare to something else. It has to be singular valued. A hash function is what under the covers dictionaries will use hash function. Those keys mutable so that they can't be hashed. All right. How it knows what is hashable. Yeah, I get to define how it's hashable. That's so you can put these items in there, and it doesn't have to be absolutely unique. So it's always better if you're expecting it, or if you're somebody who's going to be using your code is expecting that. Where? Other questions? Yeah. Yes. Okay. It might just be because it's user defined as opposed to Python special type. I want to get everybody into. Let's see. This might be what Python is doing under the covers. Be able to tell uniqueness of those number types that we saw at the very beginning, string value types. Secret is you'll have to read through the code to find out for sure. I'll leave homework. No. Let's see. I put the yeah, I wanted to make sure that more of a tactic thing. You're expecting that some items may repeat, and it's a lot easier for some people to see a list inside a set. So I'm converting that list set. It's just training teachable. There are shorter ways to find a set. Questions? Back to the foundation. All right, so this is an easy, or let's see, this is a Python talk that's on inner level. So we're looking for talks from all perspectives, maybe on data science, maybe on security work, maybe done astronomy, and you would like to present to us how high, what disciplines Python can go. We do need some low-level talks as well. Okay, maybe it's NumPy, the basis of all that data science work, or a talk like this where we're talking about the foundations of Python itself. Feel free to learn something this week and present on it. I mean, it really is a 5 to 7 minute lightning talk. You don't have to go quite as long. You don't have to do live coding. Anyway. Yes. I use words for a hash. Yes. You can put or I still suggest using a hash value. Let's say something that can be turned from words, which are a string, and put those in. As soon as you hash that, it will create a number based off of that. So the number comparisons work really fast in Python. So imagine a dictionary with 1 million items in it, and the dictionary itself can store how much over 64-bit is, and let's see, many millions of millions more than that. So if you wanted to find something very fast, let's say like I've got Eve 42, and they wanted to create, once you created a hash with this even 42, now I can look up by number and find out, okay, let's say, what's a number in the middle of 1 to whatever 64-bit is? Don't know what the number is, but let's say it's a billion. So between 1 and a billion, let's say I want to take the middle value. And so it finds this number in the set very quickly. Comparison, trying to say, okay, is the first one it? No. Is the second one it? No. Is the third one it? No. It's going to take a while. So turning it into a number is faster comparisons. Thank you very much for the question. That's going to
All right, awesome. Our last speaker tonight actually is not going to be with us in person, but they sent a video, actually. Great. And the reason for that is because this person lives in Morocco. They're like a regular San Diego Python person, but they, it's like 3 a.m. there. They sent a video. I have the video, and I tested before this that the video will play through the speakers in the room. So I think I just have to switch the... So let's see that this works. Sure isn't working. That's not what I was going for. See if we can get this working then. That's not what I wanted. It was working. Oh, was working. Oh, okay. They have like some audio processing in the room. See if we can. Yeah, they have some audio processing in the room that like noise gates the first couple seconds. So we're good. It's playing. And then I just need to make sure that OBS, which is for the live stream, is picking up. I have to switch the audio in here because I don't want it to pick up the microphone audio. I want it to pick up the output. Oh, how am I going to do? I don't know what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. hopefully. Good, but probably from the speaker though. Don't you think? Let's find out. No. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Hold on. I will get this working. This will not take me long, hopefully. Sorry, I should have. Audio output capture. That is what I want. Yes. Alt device. Try this.
For giving my second lightning talk for
The magic
SD
is happening.
I used to give my first lightning talk when I
Although then stopped processing. But I think we'll be good. I'm gonna mute this mic and then we'll be good.
was an intern at Tangible AI. I told Hello everyone, I'm Rochdi Khalid, a passionate software developer. I'm very happy for joining you today remotely for giving my second lightning talk for SDPOG. I used to give my first lightning talk when I was an intern at Tangible AI. I talked about Reza chatbot development, and I would like to say hi from here. I also apologize for not being able to be live with you due to the 8 time, not only time difference, but there is about 8-hour time difference between Casablanca and San Diego. But I want to extend my gratitude to Jeremy for inviting me to present my second lightning talk about Codarcane, and I really appreciate your understanding, guys, for accommodating this remote presentation. So as Jeremy suggested, I'm recording right now my presentation remotely. I appreciate your understanding, and yes, so let's dive into what I'll be covering in this lightning talk. So I'm just going to give a very simple outline. We will get to know, Codarcane, just a very simple overview about its current functionalities, what Codarcane does, and also I will talk about the current features of Codarcane, the libraries I use. I'll give a demo about it, how to set up on your machine as well, and I will conclude the lightning talk with a very simple exploration on its current limitations and some future improvement that I'm thinking about to add. So I hope you can find this remote presentation very helpful, and I hope you can give Codarcane a try. So here we go. Okay, so here we go. We have Codarcane, so I'll try to give some presentation about it. So as I said earlier in the first part, so Codarcane is your go-to repository for code snippet. So it's a command line interface or command line tool or a very simple Python package that allows you to manage and organize your code snippet effortlessly. But honestly, at the moment, there are still some kind of improvement, but that's the goal at the end. So it's to build an effortless and effective, code snippet management tool in the next future releases. So Codarcane allows you to add, display, search, edit, copy your code snippet. It's basically built with Click. Click, it's a Python package for creating command line interfaces. So the current features of Codarcane at the moment, as I said earlier, it allows you to add code snippet. Normally, you can do this by adding the title, the language, and the content of the code snippet, which means the code. And then you can have another command that displays the snippet for you in form of a list. So you can just say, for example, Codarcane display, and it displays all the code snippet you have in your database. Here, the database is the JSON file, so you can see this, in form of list. Then we have another command, which is search. So search functionality, as the name suggests, it searches for snippet by keywords. So you can just say, for example, Codarcane search Python, and Codarcane will return all the code snippet that involves Python. So we have also edit command to edit an existing code snippet. You can edit the title, you can edit the language, and the content of the code snippet. You can delete an existing code snippet. You can copy snippet code to clipboard, and also you can export your code snippet to markdown and text format. So when it comes to copy snippet or copy functionality, it copies only the snippet, or let's say the code content, to the clipboard, not the title, not the language itself, right? So the libraries I use for this package, normally, as I mentioned earlier, Click is the main component of this command line interface tool. As you know, it's very effective for creating command line interfaces. I use Paperclip for accessing, the clipboard functionality and to be able to copy, the content of code snippet to the clipboard. I use, of course, OS for interacting with the operating system, JSON to save, the code snippet, and Patlib for providing, an effective object-oriented, interface to file system package. So Patlib is one of my favorite packages in Python, by the way. Great, so I want to give now a small demo of how Codarcane works. We'll try every command that we mentioned here, and then we'll get back to this slide to discuss the limitations and future improvement that I'm thinking about to add to Codarcane. Great, see you in the next part. Alright, so now we are starting the demo, but let me first show you the code. So we have here some commands, of course. Yeah, the code is very easy to read, so I try to keep it explanatory and add more informative comments to almost, every function here in line of code. Great, so we have here some important functions like the load snippet that load your snippet from the JSON file. We also have another function here called save snippet to save snippet to JSON file. And then we have the commands. So export as markdown, export as text for importing, your code snippet to markdown text format. And then we have the main commands like the add command for adding a new code snippet, and then we have display command to display all code snippet. We have also search for searching for code snippets, and I don't forget copy and edit for editing code snippet. As you see here, we have some validation, of course, in case if someone, if the user type already valid, let's say not valid text to a snippet that except, for example, number or something like that. So there's a validation there, so it will raise some validation errors. And then we have a command to delete code snippet as well. And this one, it executed the export command. So I try to put them in, separate functions. Then I can call them here. So here we have the command line interface. So we have add, display, search, copy, edit, delete, and export. And of course, you can initiate this CLI for that interface. So great. So this is where our snippet.json file. So normally, snippet folder will be created automatically in your local machine, in where the virtual environment or the package is installed. So the folder called snippet and the file called snippets.json. Yeah, so let's give that a try. So let me, I'm sorry, this is my signal here. Anyway, so I want to create a new folder here. I hope the terminal is obvious and clear to you. So let's create a new directory called test, for example. Let's navigate to test and let's install this because the package is available on Python package index. And also I have highlighted here very straightforward documentation, so you can follow the steps on how to install Codarcane and how to use it and its commands, of course. So if I go back to my terminal, the code also is available here on GitLab, so feel free just to go to Rochdi Khalid, Codarcane, of course in GitLab, and you are going to see the source code of this project. So that's it. So let's go back to the terminal, and yeah, we created a new folder called test, and next we will create a new virtual environment. So we can call this it's not required, but it's a good practice to do this. Let's do python 3-m vent, and yeah, so that could take a few seconds. Well, so let's activate that. So we can say source then activate. Okay, great. So let's install pip install here, Codarcane. So normally this should install the latest release. So since I have 2 releases now, so if I go to the history, you see 0.0.3. Yeah, that's it. So we have 0, 2, 3. And now let's start using Codarcane commands. So normally there is no folder here called snippet, so it's not generated yet, but we can generate that once we execute the add command. But first let's start running help, and as you can see, you can have a list of commands that is currently available in Codarcane. So we have add, copy, delete, display, edit, export, and search. Well, so let's start with add. So here we can say Codarcane. Of course, I can just say add here. So it prompts me to add the title of the snippet. So we can say how to write, for example, how to write function in Python. So of course I could put here the language after hitting the enter. So we can say Python, and then we can enter the code snippet. So we could say div, for example, greet user. Well, so let's keep it, don't take it too seriously. We can just say return something like hello hdpyg, for example, and yeah, that's for our first function. And here we have a message that snippet added successfully. So let's see if the folder is there. Of course, we got it now. So let's navigate to it, and let's see the file snippet.json. So let's open up this with nano. Yeah, so we have here the snippet is added to the JSON file. So as you can see, we have 3 keys assigned to their corresponding values, title, language, and code. So let's exit the code editor and go back to the main directory, clear the terminal, and let's add another command just to try the other commands properly. So let's say Codarcane add, and then we can say here how to grant value, for example, in the browser using JavaScript. I don't know. I know it sounds a very weird title, but it's okay. So let's here's correct here, and let's say here console.log. Normally in the browser inspector, in the browser console, not in the browser immediately. But anyway, so here we could say hello hdpyg. Okay, so we can add semicolon, it's JavaScript. Alright, so let's see how if it's added or not. So let's do snippet, and yeah, let's run nano snippet.json, and you can see here how to print value in the browser using JavaScript, console.log, hello hdebug. Anyway, so let's exit the command, the code editor, and go back to the root directory here. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's try the second command, which is edit, to edit an existing code snippet. So we can just say edit here. By the way, if there is no snippet in our snippet directory, Codarcane will prompt a validation message that said there is no snippet available in the code. You can add a new one first to edit it. So yes, I don't need to try this, but it's working. So let's yeah, let's enter the number of the snippet to edit. So I want to edit, for example, yeah, the first command. So I would type just 1. And here selected snippet. So it displays the selected snippet after I enter the number of the snippet. So here they said, okay, enter the new title if I want to edit the title, but if I don't want to, I can just hit enter to skip. So yeah, let's hit enter. And then I can enter the new language if I want to edit that. So let's edit that by saying Rust, for example. Enter the new code. I don't need to. I just want to see if that works. So now let's go back to snippet.json to see if that is changed or not. So let's say snippet nano snippet JSON. You can see the language here is edited successfully. So we have Rust instead of Python. Great. So we don't need to do that again for our commands, but feel free guys to try this out on your own. But now let's try other commands. So we have, as you know, yeah, just quick up here. Let's copy, for example. Let's try delete, or let's try copy first. So here we can say, well, Codarcane copy. So normally it's going just to copy the code snippet only. So it will not copy the language or the title of the code snippet. It will just copy the content of the code snippet. So if I do copy here, the same logic applies to copy compared to add command or edit command, sorry. So you can say here, I want to copy the content of the first code snippet. So I can just say 1 and snippet copy to the clipboard. So if I go here to yours, I can just do Ctrl+C, and you can see the quit user return hello HDMI, which means that works. Great, so one more command to try, which is display. So let's do, for example, let's do Codarcane display. You can see we have 2 commands. So of course, sorry, 2 code snippets. So the first one and the second one. But I need to make it, you know, more friendly in terms of appearance, so I'll work on that later. Yeah, that's for this Codarcane display. And now let's try delete. So we have Codarcane delete. So here the same logic. So I would try, for example, to delete the second one, since Python is my first favorite language. So that sounds clear, right? So let's do here, and it said snippet deleted successfully. Let's go back again to snippet and nano snippet JSON file. You can see the only function we have now is how to write function in Python. Sorry, the only code snippet. Great, so let's exit the editor and go back to the test directory. And now we have a few commands left. We have export, I think. Let's see. Yeah, we have export and search, but let's try first search command. So we can say search. Of course, here I need to provide a keyword, so missing argument keyword. Yeah, so let's do Codarcane search. Let's say Python. Give me this, but I don't know if that will work, so I will try another command here. Add Rust. So anyway, I would do just some blah 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 here, just test things out and not waste your time. Of course, I just want to test if that will work or not. Great, so we can do Codarcane search, because honestly I don't know anything in Rust. That's it. So anyway, so I would do Rust, for example, and see if that works. Alright, that works great. So you can see, it prompts us 2 functions. We have Rust, as you remember, in the first language, sorry, in the first code snippet, because we put it in the language part, and then we have title here, which means it works exactly what we want it to work. So yeah, that seems good. But if we have only one command, one code snippet that involves Rust, of course it will prompt us just one. It will return only one code snippet instead. So great. So now if I try Python, it's also case sensitive. You can see Python here. Great, so nice. Well, so the last command is, and not least of course, is export. So here we can say Codarcane export. Of course, I think I should type yes. There is a missing argument here, which is the output file. So let's do Codarcane export code snippet. So I want to save that to MD file instead. Nice. So now let's see if there's any file there. So let's open that with nano code snippet.md. As you can see, we have, wow, that looks great. So how to write function in Python with good, you know, highlighting here. So nice. That works great. So let's try out with text as well. Oh, what's that? I'm sorry. I should say Codarcane export text. And then I can do nano text here. Awesome. Okay, that works great. So that's all about Codarcane. So I hope you can give it a try and try to you know, find some issues with it, because I'm sure there are a lot of improvement that I have to add later, but at least the basic part is working now, and I'm looking forward to add more interesting features, and that'll be the thing that I'll be talking about in my next part of this lightning talk. Well, so you got an idea about Codarcane, right? So you see how it works, and I think you realize the limitations and maybe some future improvement that we can add to this command line interface, right? So as you know, you see, you know, the command line tool is not friendly and easy to use. Yeah, maybe it's easy. Okay, let's say it's a little bit painful, because I don't want the user to go and say, well, Codarcane add snippet in that way. But maybe if I provide, you know, a graphical user interface for users and developers to add, you know, and manage their code snippet, that could be a very easy tool, an easy way to manage and edit code snippets. So they can have things, they can have an interface that includes buttons, inputs, things like that, you know, select menus, drop down menus. And I think if I use a Python tool to build graphical user interface, that could be something, you know, very friendly for developers and users to use this. Also, another thing I see not good in the way I displayed, for example, the code snippet. So imagine if we have, you know, 100 of code snippets. So I don't want to see code snippet hard coded like this in the terminal. So if we have like graphical user interface, we can see, you know, very attractive list of snippets. So you can see, you know, the title of the snippet in big heading, and then you have description in text, and then the code snippet in code formats. So that's what I'm thinking about. The first improvement is building a graphical user interface for Codarcane. I don't know if there are, yes, I heard of some Python frameworks that builds GUI interfaces. So I will try to search for such interfaces, but feel free, guys, if you have any tool in Python that builds this. Also, another thing that I don't like is the manual JSON file handling for data storage, as I mentioned in this slide. Honestly, it's not great to keep only the JSON file. Maybe I'm thinking about a database, real database, to store this code snippet. So, of course, this will require users to enter, you know, the credentials of their own database. And I don't know if I have to keep it compatible to all SQL databases, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server, etc. But we'll see. So I will try it out with PostgreSQL and see if developers are very willing to try this with PostgreSQL, but I think that could be a very good option because the JSON file contains a lot of code snippet, but database can be a good option to improve scalability and reliability for that. Well, I also want, once I finish building the GUI interface, maybe I can add another feature to better manage the code snippet by adding tags. So as you know, we have titles of the snippet that maybe classify the code snippet into multiple languages. But if we add tags, that could be great because maybe we have Python and we can have another tag, something like functions, methods, classes, etc. So that could be very easy to classify things and give more meaning to our code snippet. So that's all about Codarcane. I hope you can find it useful. So please, if you have any question, feel free to connect with me on Discord. So this is my Discord username, and I'm also active on LinkedIn. So if you have any feedback, suggestion, any recommendation that you think can be very helpful to Codarcane, please give me an input. And just if you don't want, just leave notes on our Discord server, San Diego Python users group. Yes, also feel free to contribute to Codarcane on GitLab. So create a new branch, if you find any issue, solve it, and create a fork. Yes, do a merge request, and I'll be very happy to review this and merge it in the main branch. So yeah, so here I put some references. Of course, this is the link to the source code on GitLab, link to install the package on Python package index. Here I wrote, very useful documentation on how to create and publish Python package index Python package to Python package index. So it's published on FreeCodeCamp. It's very useful. It's not because I wrote it, but I really make it very simple for everybody to understand and learn how to install, how to create a Python package and publish it to the test Python package index and then to the official pygame, right? And then I used to give a demo on YouTube on how to use Codarcane, so feel free to reach out, feel free to visit that on my YouTube channel. Here is the link. So that's all about it. So that was my lightning talk about Codarcane. I hope you can give it a try. So please guys, if you have any question, recommendation, feedback, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Discord. I'm very active there. If you have any, I don't know, if you give a try and you found an issue or something wrong with Codarcane, please raise it on my GitLab repository. So there's a repository for Codarcane, so I left the link, as you saw in the presentation. So yeah, that's all about it. Hope you find things very helpful, and feel free, to put your inputs on our Discord server. So I will do my best to answer all your messages and try to discuss your recommendation and feedback. Bye for now, and take care.
Turn it back up. All right. The mic is not muted anymore. All right, there we go. Now we can clap. Yeah. So yeah, just the audio issues, those were room audio issues. So actually the recording should be good because it captured the audio directly off the video file, which is good. And so there's some like noise gate that the optimization. You know how that's going. Anyway, I wanted to thank all the speakers for presenting. I want to thank Qualcomm for having us and JFrog for sponsoring the meetup. That's our meetup. We will be here next month. I think it's March the 28th. So yeah, I'll see you there. That's it. And then yeah, we have to be out by 9, so good time. But Feel free to meander, or if you need to leave, go ahead. All right, that's it.